Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. This is the 5th day of our Calming the ADHD Family event. The summit officially ran Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yesterday, we had our how not to lose your cool, especially when your kids do workshop. That is pinned to the top of our Facebook group, the ADHD Village. It's also on YouTube. So if you missed that workshop yesterday, you can join in for that. And today we will be talking about back to school and how to make that transition easier for kids, but also for parents. So hello and welcome. I'm so glad to have you here with me today. Just to let you know, this is recording so that people can watch the replay, and it is streaming live in the ADHD Village Facebook group. So whatever you're comfortable with in terms of cameras and all that stuff, do what feels right for you. But I would love to hear from you. Please let me know in the comments, how old are your kids? What grade are they going into? So I have an idea of where to direct the conversation. Hi, Mercedes. Hi, Annie. Welcome. Hi, Cheryl and Danielle. Hi, Deanna. Hi, Deanna. Ella. Hello, Karen. Hi, Katie. Hi, Stacy. Glad you're here. Hi, Shireen. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Amy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you're here today. Okay. So we have a 14-year-old going into the 9th grade. Yay. Let me know too what country you're in. I'm in Canada, so I'm most familiar with the education system in Canada. I have been teaching for nearly 25 years now, everything from kindergarten to grade 8. I am qualified to teach up to grade 10 in science, but my comfort level is with the younger kids. 10 years I spent in special education as a special education resource teacher. So in Ontario, that's a CERT for short. We have a 13-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter in Germany. 8-year-old grandson going into the 3rd grade. 8-year-old with ADHD in the USA. Okay, so it looks like right now we are ages 8 to 15 is what I'm seeing. So we don't have any of the real littles. 8 to 15. So middle school, high school. Hmm. 10-year-old. Okay. And let me know, some of us have already started back to school. If you're in the States, this may be your first week back already. If you're in Canada, like me, we still have a few precious weeks left of summer vacation. Let me know, what are your concerns about back to school? And so just so you know, we've got about an hour, and I'm going to do the best that I can to answer some of your questions, give you some strategies to help alleviate with back to school. And then at the end of that time, if you wish to stay on, I'll be explaining some programs and various ways that you can work with me if you're looking for further support. Just so you know, I am offering a back to school special support. That will be beginning next week. And I have 2 sessions planned for the very beginning of the school year. And I'll have handouts for you so that my goal is to help kids develop skills to advocate for themselves at school, and also to help in the communication between home and school. So that will be some of our areas of focus, as well as offering support for parents who are struggling with back to school. Because if you're dealing with, I shouldn't say the word dealing, if you have a child who's struggling to go back to school, if they come home and there's these huge meltdowns, if you're getting calls from the teacher all the time, that's a lot for you to manage. So I'd like to be giving you some strategies for yourself, because you are the strategy for your child. And if you're not taken care of, it's really hard for you to implement all the things. We will spend some time on executive function skills. And then in 6 weeks, we'll get together again to check in and see how things are going and see how I can further support you. So I'll talk more about that at the end of the session today, but I just want you to be aware that course. It's 3 modules. It's going to be selling for $77. I'll drop the link in after our live today. $77 until Sunday night. On Monday morning, it will be full price, which is $111. Or if you're in the Love You Parenting membership, this course is included in the membership. So if you have a VIP, that comes with 1 month support in the membership already, and that's only $33 a month. So if you don't have VIP, you're wanting some support, $33 a month gets you this course plus everything that's in the membership, which includes like a library full of resources, coaching, all sorts of things. So that's something to think about. We can talk more about that at the end. And at the end, if you don't want to hear about it, then you're free to go whenever you'd like. Okay. So I'm looking in the comments. Hi, Mercedes. Glad you were able to join on Zoom. Oh, wait, is that Zoom or Facebook? No, I think you're on Facebook. Okay, I see Facebook comments. I don't see my Zoom comments now. Let me open up that box. Okay. Homework is an issue I'm seeing. Reframing expectations and responsibilities as a student. You show up for your education, even though we homeschool. Okay, so homeschooling. Getting daughter to use a planner so she can monitor homework instead of just me. Yes, and that is something that we will be talking about more in the course, is how do we get the kids to use the planners and organizers. I do have a planner that I recommend. It's from Leslie Jossel's Order Out of Chaos, and I will drop a link for that later. I don't want to be dropping links while I'm live because it's too distracting and confusing for me, but I will drop that link later. But keeping in mind, when you have kids with ADHD, there is, I call it a learning skill in executive functioning. Their executive function skills are delayed by about 30%. So you might have a 10-year-old who you're wanting them to use their planner and do all the things, but their executive function skills are more like a 7-year-old. So as we start teaching these skills that they need to learn, it's as if we are their executive functioning. So we have to really support them a lot in the beginning. And then the plan is to slowly peel back the layers. So when we're talking about planners, what is the purpose of the planner? Is the purpose of the planner to communicate what's for homework so that message comes home? Or is the purpose of the planner to help the child see time and plan and organize their time? So when we want our kids to use planners, we need to be really clear on what the purpose is and what are the accommodations that we can put in place to help them to use that planner. So if it's simply to communicate from home, from school and home and back and forth, are there other ways that that communication can happen? Does the teacher have a Google Classroom or Brightspace or these other electronic ways to communicate, to share what the homework is back and forth? So if so, getting the teacher on board, collaborating with the teacher. And then if that's the case, if there is just one place where the kids can click to see what their homework is, maybe they don't need to be using the planner. But if you want them to use the planner because they need to figure out when are they going to study, when are they going to put their homework, schedule time to do homework so it's done before the due date, that's a whole different reason for using a planner. And then if that's the purpose, helping them see time and helping them organize and plan their time, do they need to be the one who's actually writing in the planner, or can you help with that? So I know with my son, well, both my sons, we get together on Sunday night. I open up the planner. We look at all the different calendars, so the teacher calendars, the sports calendars, we put everything in the planner. And when I say we put everything in, it might be me doing the writing depending on their mood. It's often me starting, okay, we've got this, because I want them to see the time and then plan. And then I'll say, okay, on Thursday, you have this assignment due. When do you think you will have time to do that assignment? And this is Sunday. Oh, I've got lots of time. I've got lots of time. Well, let's see that really, because Monday and Tuesday you have football and Wednesday you have swimming. So when's this going to get done? So yeah. So if you're wanting your daughter to, I hope this is answering your question. If you're wanting to use your daughter to use a planner, get really clear on the reason why and what accommodations can you put in place to help her to practice using that planner. And it might be you that's doing a lot at the beginning, but slowly peeling the layers and support back. So for example, once my son picked what time is best for him to do his geography assignment, for example, then I might say, okay, write it in this little space here, or put geography homework on a sticky. And now let's move it to the place where you think it should go. And then, so after they practice with a lot of support, then you can start to peel back the layers. Okay, Amy, our son dreads every day with school and has said it's the worst thing ever. It's so hard helping him to see good things when he does, and good things about school. Aggression in school, not wanting to get out of the car at pickup. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I really feel for you, Amy. I know how hard this is. Like, we want to feel good when we drop our kids off at school. Like, of course, we want our kids to be having a good day at school and enjoying themselves and learning and being social. And when your child's telling you it's the worst thing ever, of course, that's hard. That's heartbreaking for you and for your child. Of course it is. So he's clearly communicating, and even the aggression at school, that is clear communication that something's not right. Something's not going well. So what is it about school that he doesn't like? So having that conversation, trying to get more details, like what exactly is it? And communicating with the teacher too. Setting up a meeting. Listen, my son doesn't want to come to school. He's having a hard time. What's his day like at school? What are you noticing that he does well at school, or what does he enjoy at school? And see if you can help him to come up with a list of things that he enjoys at school too. If you could even have that meeting in the classroom, so you get a visual of where things are. How old is your son, Amy? Yeah, he could have a lot of anxiety too. So when he doesn't want to get out of the car to go to school, I would do a lot of validating. This is really hard for you, buddy. I know how hard this is. It doesn't feel good. Like, I get it. I can see that this is a struggle for you. What's up? Can you tell me more? And see if you can get some more information. And I know we want to get to the point where we're cheerleading them and telling them, you're brave, you could do this, you're going to have a good day, but allowing him to feel those feelings and validating his feelings and empathizing. Yeah, I know this is really hard for you. Can you tell me more? And even something that might be helpful is having like a little thermometer check-in for him, a scale of 1 to 10. And a 10 would be like super duper happy, and a 1 is miserable. And just, even on the weekends, try like, how are you feeling on the temperature gauge? Like, what number are you at? And maybe he says a 5. Okay, you're at a 5. What do you think would need to happen to get you up to a 6? And then, so kind of play around with that when you're at home. And then before going to school, ask, like, what number are you at? And maybe it's a 1. Oh, okay, you're at a 1. Wow, this is really rough. You're already feeling at a 1. I wonder if there's anything we could do to bring it up to a 2. Would a hug help? I don't know. I would try that. I just let him express his feelings, validate his feelings, and then see if he can come up with any little ideas. What little thing could happen? Just bring it up one little notch. And really having good conversations with the teacher, because that's going to be key. Okay, Katie saying, getting sucked back into the social friend drama of teenage girl stuff. First school year trying ADHD meds, so I'm hopeful there will be less impulsive behavior. and organization and focus on schoolwork. Okay. So there's quite a bit there, right? So yeah, the meds can definitely help with the impulse control and that and also with the focus, which will help with the organization. So if she's got the right fit for meds, hopefully that will be something that helps. In terms of organization, uh, that planner I was talking about, I can drop the link in, that may help. Also communicating with the teacher on how you can work together to support her organization at school. I know some schools have fantastic support from special education teachers or educational assistants, and you can work it into the IEP. That organization is an area where they need support. My son has a special education teacher who checks in with him once a week, and they go through his binder, they go through his locker. It's like a check-in for executive functioning in organization. So see what kind of support you can get in place. In terms of focusing at school, working with your daughter and seeing what helps her to focus. So movement breaks sometimes are really helpful. So is that something you can communicate with the teacher, or she can communicate with the teacher that she's able to, get up and leave the classroom and get a drink of water? Sometimes just that movement is enough to refocus and recenter their energy. Or working in any kind of movement while they're in the classroom, whether it's a fidget toy or like a different type of seating that has some movement, or a band on the chair where her legs can kick. I know she's 14, so she may not want to be standing out in that way, but even just getting up to have a drink of water sometimes is good. I really encourage kids to walk to school whenever possible, or ride their bikes to school, because they're getting that exercise in the morning. ADHD brains really need movement and exercise. It like fuels the brain. So if they can get that movement before school, get the endorphins flowing, they're getting the natural light, the natural sunshine, that will help with focus as well. And before I forget to mention, on my website, so the ADHDvillage.com, there's a resource section, and there's a guide in there, like tips to start, how to have a successful start to the school day or something like that. So there's some good strategies in there that you might want to check out. In terms of the teenage girl drama stuff, that's not my area of expertise, unfortunately. I have boys, and I generally work with the younger kids. So I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. It is always nice when you can foster a good friendship and they just need one friend. It doesn't have to be all the, and talk to your daughter to see how can you support her? What would she like? I would take her lead on that. So I hope that helps. Okay. Deanna, my child gets bullied. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know how heartbreaking that is, Deanna. It hasn't happened this school year, but she has had a hard time just reporting the bullies to the teacher. The teachers, hang on. Sorry, this chat box is tiny and I'm having a hard time reading. The teachers can't address it if it's not brought up immediately. Yeah. So that can be really challenging, right? She's having a hard time. There's kids who are doing things that are hurtful, and having to find her voice so that she can communicate. Since it's the beginning of the school year, it hasn't happened yet. I would have a really good conversation with the teacher at the beginning of the year and let her know these are your concerns, explain exactly what has happened in the past. And the best thing really would be for the teacher and your daughter to form a really nice connection, so your daughter feels safe coming to her teacher. And I'm imagining a lot of the stuff would happen more likely at recess time when it's unstructured. So maybe there could be a system that the teacher puts in place with your daughter, and it's just after recess, it's a check-in, like how was recess? Or she just goes like this to your daughter, and then your daughter can do this or this or this to let her know how recess went without saying a word. It's just a hand signal, or they can come up with their own signal, whatever works. And it's discreet. So So if there is a problem, let's say this is the symbol, there is a problem, the teacher now knows, okay, there is a problem. And just like gives her a signal that says, yes, I hear you, I know, and then comes to her later on when there's a private time to chat and say, it looks like you didn't have a good time at recess. Can you tell me about it? So if your daughter's having a hard time, because this is really hard, they're struggling with whatever happened, which is hurtful and embarrassing, and they might be afraid to say something. So they're dealing with that. And then they're still supposed to tell the teacher so they can get help. And they might be afraid to tell the teacher, or uncomfortable, embarrassed, all the things. So really, truly, the teacher forming a connection with your daughter so she's comfortable is the number one thing. And really, you can help with this. And I'm going to get into this in my course. I'll have templates, they're advocacy templates, so that the kids can advocate for themselves. And one of the things is letting the teacher know things that they're interested in and things that are their strengths. But in terms of what they're interested in, it could be a whole list of things, their hobbies, the toys they like to play with, their favorite movie character, like whatever it is. So the teacher now has on this organizer all these things about your child. So it's really would be easy for them to say, hey, did you watch whatever the show is last night? Or, oh, I know you had a baseball game last night. How did it go? Or, you love panda bears. So do I. You want to see this picture of a panda bear I found? Like, so really simple. So, if you're not coming into my course, this is something that you can do on your own, is write out for the teacher and have your child work with you to do this. Things like, these are my strengths. These are things I struggle with. These are things I love. I learn best when, and all the different things. So the teacher has that, and that can help the teacher to build connections. It only takes a couple of minutes or even a few seconds every day to start building that connection, but it goes a long way. Even if the teacher greets your child with a high five or just show some genuine interest, and let the teacher know like how important this is. Your child has ADHD, and with ADHD, it's really, really important that they feel safe and regulated in the classroom. And the best way for them to feel safe is to feel a connection with the teacher. And this is what you can do to help my child feel connected and safe. Listen to them deeply, ask them some questions, talk about things that they're interested in. So Deanna, I hope that helped. Okay, I'm just looking at, are there any other questions and comments in the chat box? Oh, Michael, I'm a former school psych, and sometimes we would have a place in the building, a school resistant child could go for 3 to 5 minutes or until they're ready. Helped a lot with getting them out of the car as a smaller, more manageable step. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. So we call it a soft start at my school. And again, I'm not sure how old your child is, Amy. So yeah, for those kids who have a hard time coming in, I know in my classroom, I teach kindergarten, so I have the littles, 3, 4, and 5 years old, and transitioning from the car to the busy enclosed kindergarten area, which has 3 classes, so it can have up to 90 kids and like 6 adults. That can be a big struggle to transition from the safety of mom in the car to that big area, or even lining up with your class and all the other lineups. That transition can be hard. So Michael, I'm glad you mentioned that soft start entry. So there could be, maybe your child gets dropped off at the front of the school and they go to a safe place where they can regulate before going into the classroom. So some schools have sensory rooms, some schools have like safe rooms. That would definitely be something to look into. And then maybe there's something that your child really loves to do, and that's the first thing they do when they get to school in a safe place. Or maybe it's even inside it depends on the teacher and the way the school is set up, but maybe they get to come into the classroom before the rest of the kids come in, so they can come in and get settled, and maybe they start coloring or something like that. That's a great suggestion, Michael. Thank you. See, that's what I love about this ADHD village. We have a wealth of information together. We have all of our experience as parents, and we also have like therapists and psychologists and teachers and coaches. Like there's so many incredible supports inside the village. And when we ask our questions here, it's like amazing the support you can get from each other, right? It takes a village. Let me just see what other questions are coming in. Joanne said she's concerned with more breakdowns at school, noise overwhelm, and executive function concerns. Okay. So the breakdowns at school, and then you mentioned the noise overwhelm and executive function. So when they're having these breakdowns at school, like that's their way of letting us know their nervous system can't handle all the things. Their nervous system can't handle all the demands, all the expectations, all the sensory input. So you've already said the noise is overwhelming. So what can we do for that? Are there noise canceling headphones that they can possibly wear? I know some kids are fine with that. Some kids are not comfortable with that. Are there some quiet spaces that are available? You know, is there like a cert room or an office or somewhere where, or the library or something where they can have some breaks throughout the day just to have some quiet time? Executive function concerns. So in terms of the executive function concerns, if your kids have ADHD, they legally have a right to access the curriculum. And if their disability is getting in the way, so their lagging skills and executive functions and all the other things are getting in the way from them receiving their education, then the school system has to put supports in place. So if you're in the US, that your first step is a 504 plan. In Canada, we go right to IEP, at least in Ontario. So the first step would be to talk to the teacher, bring in the special education resource teacher and say, like, what accommodations can we put in place? I want a 504 plan. I want an IEP. We need to have accommodations. If you're in Canada, the CADAC website is an excellent resource. There's lots of information on IEPs there and accommodations. And at the beginning of each school year for my own kids, I print out those accommodation suggestions and I go through it and I check off the ones that I think are helpful for my child from where they are. And I give that to the teacher at the beginning of each year. I'm like, I just printed this off the website. I think these strategies would help my child. And I hand them the whole thing. Because a lot of these strategies that are going to help my child will help lots of other kids in the class, whether they have ADHD or not. And it's a nice resource for the teacher to have. Teachers are busy juggling millions of things. So if you hand them this resource, that's really helpful. Inside my course too, I will have some resources like that for you that you can just give to the teacher that makes things a little bit easier. But the website I'm talking about is www.caddac.com. So maybe if someone on Facebook wouldn't mind putting that in the comments, www.caddac.ca. Okay, so the executive function, so we can support that with a 504 or an IEP. The noise overwhelm, looking for some possible quiet spaces, possibly noise canceling headphones. And when those supports are in place, that should reduce the breakdowns at school, Joanne. Okay, let me see what other questions are coming in. Okay, I don't see any other questions on Facebook. Let me look at the chat in Zoom. I can hear someone has their microphone off. Do you have a question? Well, look at all these beautiful faces on Facebook. Hi, Denise. Hi, Terry. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Jill. Thanks for joining. Okay, let me see what comments are coming in now on Zoom. Deanna said, thanks for bringing up executive function coaching. We have looked into it and are considering it. Having executive function support come from someone other than mom or dad will be a great strategy for our little. Yeah. And it's hard when we're the ones that are doing all the things, right? So if you can bring in any kind of support, that's fantastic. And sometimes our kids are more open to learning from somebody else. So yeah, having a coach is a great idea. Kathy said, someone mentioned fidget toys as an accommodation. Have you heard of this for anxiety in the classroom? Yes. Yeah. So there's lots of resources, in terms of fidget and anxiety and stuff for the classroom. Something that I really love are those weighted like lap toys. So they might be like a cute little animal, but it's something that has weight, or even like a magic bag with those like the beans inside the bag. It has weight and they could put that on their lap. Some kids put it around their shoulders. That's something that's really nice. Yeah, there's tons of different fidget toys, and sensory toys. And absolutely, a lot of classrooms will have like a calming corner or a cozy corner, or like a space in the room where kids can go where they need to regulate. And if your child's classroom doesn't have that, again, that's something you can reach out to the teacher, like, what can we do to support my child when she's feeling anxious?
Okay.
Does someone have a question? I hear a microphone on. Is that you, Kathy? Do you have a question? No. Okay.
Can I just reinforce something that you just said?
Sure.
Okay, it's a message. I'm working with an 8, and I'm not an official coach, but I started working with her on building her self-esteem and on executive functioning. And all of a sudden we looked at each other. She's 20. I said, nobody ever addressed your ADHD. You don't understand what it means to be ADHD. She never had a mentor. She never had support. And she wants me to bring out this message to whoever I can. Start when you're young. Start them understanding what they need when they're young. She was diagnosed when she was 10, and she feels the schools never understood her. This is going back. So whatever support you can give, and I don't know how old the child is when you were mentioning coaching, go for it. Makes such a huge difference.
Oh,
Try to understand. And Dara, and I think it's so important what you're doing, Lara, because
thank you.
parents need to understand their child. It's so heartbreaking for me. And she finally gave me permission to talk to her parents today after working with her almost 2 years, because she was afraid of the backlash. So all the parents that support their kids, God bless you. That's all I can say. And God bless you. It's very
Yes.
heartbreaking. I'm very emotional. I'm sitting here like at 2:30. I have to call the mom and I have to be calm, because I don't want the daughter to get yelled at. Why did you make Mrs. Turtletop say blah, 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 blah? Anyway,
Yeah.
just enjoy your children.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It breaks
Sometimes.
my heart. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes we can be overwhelmed by all this stuff, but that's such great advice to enjoy your children, right? They're small for such a short time. That's actually one of the pieces of advice that Dr. Edward Hallowell says, is like, enjoy them. Like, look for those glimmers, right? Their strengths and their interests. And that's something that really helps at school too, is if we can communicate with teachers what their strengths and their interests are and foster that. So it's not just about, fixing or teaching the things that they struggle with. And yes, getting that support in place as early as possible and helping them to understand too about their ADHD brains so that they can advocate for themselves. There's nothing broken or wrong with them. Their brain just learns differently. Yeah.
Did you see the film, The Disruptors?
Yes. Yes. That's a
I
good one.
highly
Dr.
recommend it.
Hallowell's in that. Yeah. The
Yes,
Disruptors.
yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
actually interviewed the director of that movie in ADHD Parenting Solutions Summit last fall. But yes, and in terms of getting that, helping them to understand their brains. So if you're looking for a really easy way to help them understand what it means to have an ADHD brain, if you just go onto YouTube, Dr. Hallowell calls it a Ferrari brain with Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. So they have these brains that move really fast, and they're really specialized, fancy brains that have these engines like a Ferrari engine. And kids really like that idea, right? Like, I remember telling my boys or my son, My oldest when he was little, because the youngest we didn't know yet. But yeah, your brain's like a Ferrari. And he loved that idea that his brain was a Ferrari and other people had sedans and vans and he had this Ferrari. But the problem is you don't have Ferrari brakes. You have bicycle brakes. And those brakes are not powerful enough to stop that Ferrari car. So we need to strengthen those brakes so that they're stronger to match up that incredible brain that you have that's like a Ferrari. So that Ferrari brain idea is like all of their incredible strengths, their creativity, their thinking outside of the box, their willingness to take risks. These kids are often really funny and outgoing and friendly. They might be really athletic or artistic. So those are all the things that make that ADHD brain, that Ferrari brain, really incredible. They often see things that other people don't see, which is incredible. But the brakes, the bicycle brakes, that's like the ability to control their impulses, the ability to stop. Sometimes they go too far with things, the ability to control their emotions. So if you come at it that way, we're going to make this Ferrari engine really incredible and foster it. And also we're going to work on strengthening your brakes. So those are the lagging executive function skills. And what do you think we can do to make these brakes stronger? So yeah, helping your child to understand about their brain, understand about what they're good at, what their strengths are, and what is difficult for them, and letting them be a part of how can we support you to make this easier? What accommodations can we put in place? And if those accommodations include having a coach, get a coach. It might include, seeing an occupational therapist or a tutor or whatever it is. But I firmly believe in wrapping a village of support around your kids and around you. So whatever supports you need to pull in all the support you can get: family, friends, neighbors, coaches, therapists, like whatever supports you can get. And you need support for you too, because if you are depleted, burnt out, exhausted, it's really hard for you to navigate everything. And as the leader of your family, and your family has ADHD, it's like you are the executive functions for the whole family. And if you're burnt out, how can you possibly do all the things? How can you teach the executive function skills? How can you manage all the teacher meetings and do all the things if you're burnt out? So you need support too. And that's something that I offer inside the Love You Parenting membership and inside the Warrior Mamas. And I'll talk more about that towards the end. Okay, I'm going to look in the comments and see what other questions are coming up. Things that you would like to talk about back to school. Amy said, yes, undiagnosed and invalidated ADHD can be traumatizing for kids because they feel something is wrong with them if they don't understand their brains. Yeah. And they already know that they're different. So some parents are asking, do we tell them they have ADHD or not? They already know they're different. And so we don't want them to think, exactly like Amy said, that there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. Their brain works differently than a neurotypical brain. Differently. Doesn't mean better or worse. It works differently. And unfortunately, our school system, the way it is right now in North America, really is not set up for ADHD brains. It's like an outdated system that's not keeping up with, it's just the way it is. Michael said diagnosed in your 30s. Yeah. So many of us are diagnosed after our kids. I'm not seeing any more questions in the comments, and I don't know if that's because my comment box is so teeny tiny and I've missed something. Okay, now Deanna wrote calming strips, which are stickers that are textured that attach to the desk were suggested by my kiddo's teacher. They helped with fidgeting and calming anxiety. So those are just little texture strips that they can touch and feel. That sounds cool. Deanna also suggested arriving 10 minutes early to school might help. Sometimes the school library opens early so kids can play, or kids can play on the playground, which might help too. Okay. I don't see any more questions. Oh, it's Michelle, not Michael. Thank you. I see it. Thank you. Okay, I'll see if there's questions on Facebook. No more questions coming in. Okay. So with this being the beginning of the school year for many of us, the best piece of advice that I can share as a mom of kids with ADHD and as a teacher is to start that open communication as early as possible with the teacher. I know some parents have mentioned like they feel like they're like helicoptering or they're pushing or whatever it is. But if you come into it as this with the energy of, I want to collaborate with you so we can support my child so they can have the most successful year possible. And I want to know how I can support you. What can I do as the parent to support you, the teacher? That goes a long way. And letting the teacher know, and this is where the advocacy sheets really come in handy. And I'll be sharing that in my course, but letting the teacher know as much information as possible about your child, their strengths. And this is where an IEP, this formalizes it. Having this on an IEP is helpful. But what are their strengths? What are their areas of needs? Even like what are things that trigger them or upset them or scare them? Let the teacher know all of that information so the teacher can be a help. I know that there's some parents that don't want to share all the stuff with the teacher, but the teacher's taking care of your child as a caregiver, from 8 till 3 or 9 till 3 or whatever it is. So bringing them on board as much as possible is helpful. It also helps your child see that you're working in collaboration together, that you're on the same page and that you support each other. So that would be something that I highly recommend. Okay, so here's something from Michelle. How to kindly deal with the negativity and pessimism and black and white thinking. It's so hard not to respond in ways that invalidate, especially when my energy is low. Yes. So acknowledging when your energy is low. So that's huge, of course. And I know this for myself. One of my biggest, I don't know if it's a trigger or if I'm tired, if I haven't had a good night's sleep, I have very little patience. So I know if I want to be patient for my own kids and for my students, I need a good night's sleep. So Michelle, it sounds like you know this about your own energy. So even before you address your child's things, what can you do for yourself for your own energy level? So maybe it's making sure you have a good sleep. Maybe it's really, really making sure that you're getting enough water. I think a lot of us don't drink enough water. Are you sleeping through the night? Are you taking enough magnesium? Are you getting outside and moving your body? Like we need to move our bodies too. And often I think we're so busy taking care of the kids, working, taking care of the house, doing all the things that we put ourselves at the bottom of the list. So taking care of your needs and your energy, Michelle, comes first. How to deal with your child's black and white thinking and negativity and pessimism. Oh my goodness. Kids with ADHD really struggle with this, right? And it can be really hard for us, especially when we see like they're so fixed on their thinking and we want them so badly to see another perspective that's more helpful. So I think allowing opportunities for them to see different points of view. And this can be brought in even like, you're watching a TV show together and a character does something and you could say, I wonder why she did that. And could there be another reason why? Let's see if we can figure out some other reasons why that could have happened. Or you can do that in a book while you're reading books, or like, so that then it's not directed at your child and their experience, but as a character and talking through it that way. With the negativity. I know I say this statistic a lot, but I think it's important. By the age of 12, kids with ADHD receive 20,000 more negative comments about themselves compared to their peers, neurotypical peers. 20,000. So of course they're negative. Like, of course they are. They're receiving a lot of negativity. And all brains, 90% of our thoughts are negative and automatic, whether we have ADHD or not. Kids with ADHD or people with ADHD are often really sensitive to criticism. Really sensitive to criticism. So yeah, so the negativity, let's say, for example, I don't know how old your child is, or let's just say, for an example, they drew a picture, they're not happy with their picture, and they say, I suck at drawing. So that's how they're feeling in the moment. And it's okay to say, I can see like how hard this is for you. Like, it was really important to you that you were able to draw this, house a special way, and it didn't turn out the way you liked. I can see that's really hard for you. So you're not agreeing with them like, yeah, your drawing sucks. And yeah, it's okay to think your drawing sucks, but you're saying like, I see this is hard for you and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. That's not how you hoped for it to turn out. And you worked really hard on it and it didn't turn out the way you were hoping. That's hard. And I think as an instinct, we're wanting to cheerlead and show them like the positive point of view, like that, like, and I do this all the time and then I catch myself, but that drawing doesn't suck. Like, that's better than I could have done. And look at the detail you did over here. And then, so all that does is it's not validating their feelings. And it makes them push harder into that negativity because they really want you to understand where they're coming from. So just by saying like, I can see this is hard for you and it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, I get that. And then leave it. The black and white thinking, that I call it sticky thinking too, right? They get really stuck on one viewpoint. So even asking them, like, let's say, for example, they have a belief about something and the opposite is totally wrong. But you could just ask them like, so why do you believe that? And why do you think that? And tell me more. Like, just get them talking. And then you could open up conversations to, teeny tiny little ways to open up the perspective. I hope that helps, Michelle. Amy said, this is so hard. I try to remember Ross Greene's motto that kids do well if they can. Yes. I always say if I ever had a tattoo, it would say kids do well if they can. And the kids are having a hard time. Yes. They're not giving us a hard time. They are having a hard time. It often helps me bring in compassion for their struggles because no one wants to be feeling so negative. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's really helpful too, right? They're having a hard time. They're not giving me a hard time. They're having a hard time. Kids do well if they can. So if they're not doing well, there's something that's getting in their way that's preventing them from doing well. What is it? Thanks for sharing that, Amy. That's helpful. And being kind to ourselves too when we have our own emotions that we're dealing with. Yeah. Because our kids need a lot from us. They need our patience and our love and our compassion and our understanding and our executive function and our cheerleading and our, deep listening and all the things. And we're humans that have our own feelings and have our own energy levels. And yeah, giving ourselves some compassion when we're not able to show up in a way that we always want to show up. I love the saying that our worst parenting on our best day is better than our best parenting on our worst day. So if you're having a crummy day, even if you have, all the strategies in place and the organization systems and the planners and all the things in place, and you're trying really hard to do all those things, if you are having a bad day yourself, you're feeling depleted and tired and stressed and worried about things, it doesn't matter about all the fabulous strategies that you have because you are their number one strategy. That's what Dr. Stuart Shanker always says. You are the strategy. So the number one thing, the best thing you can do is first take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to get your energy and your mood. And also acknowledge when you are having feelings, and it's okay to allow yourself to feel the feelings. We did a lot of this yesterday on the Heart Brain Boot Camp for the Platinum VIPs, but really like allowing yourself, and I think we did this too in the How Not to Lose Your Cool, but allow yourself to feel your feelings. So if you're noticing that you are feeling anxious or you're feeling frustrated or whatever it is, we often think like, I don't have time for these feelings. They're just slowing me down. They're preventing me from doing the things I need to do. I need to have a positive attitude so I can, support my kids and do the things. If we shove those feelings down in a way and don't allow ourselves to feel them, they don't go anywhere. So emotions are energy in motion. They're vibrations in our body. And if we don't process them, they're like trapped in there somewhere, and we might feel them as headaches or backaches or stomach aches or sluggishness or like low energy or like exhaustion or whatever it is. Like if we don't process the emotions, we feel it in other ways. So when those emotions come in, like allowing yourself to feel the emotions. And there's a lot of emotions that happen when you have children who are struggling to go to school or struggle at school. It's hard for us. Like we love our kids more than anything. We want to support them more than anything. We want them to be successful and happy at school. And when that's not happening, it hurts us and it's hard for us. And sometimes we don't acknowledge that because we just want to focus on helping them. And we think, that's silly that we might have these feelings, or maybe it's selfish to allow ourselves to feel those feelings or whatever it is. And then we judge ourselves for having the feelings. We also compare ourselves to other parents maybe who aren't going through the same struggles, and we feel like, what did I do wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? Why is my kid struggling? Like, what's wrong with me? We have these feelings. So allowing yourself to feel those feelings and reminding yourself you're safe and it's okay to have these feelings. And if you need a coach to support you on that journey of processing your feelings, like that's what made a huge impact in my world, was working with a coach and understanding that my thoughts create my feelings drive my actions, and finding ways to really process my feelings. I use a lot of tapping to process my feelings and journaling, and I have strategies now to rewire my brain. And that's what I do with my clients. Okay, let's see what other comments are coming in. Oh yeah, did you say taking magnesium? Can you explain more about that? Okay, so I do not have any kind of medical background. I have no qualifications to say anything about medications or supplements or anything, but I can say that most people in North America do not get enough magnesium. And so you can talk to your doctor or your naturopath about this, or your pharmacist. I love talking to a pharmacist about anything like this. But like there's over the counter, we use the one that's called Calm Magnesium, and it's a powder, and you just add it to water, and we add it to warm water, and we call it like tea, bedtime tea. So magnesium at bedtime relaxes your muscles, and it helps you settle for sleep. And having a good night's sleep is so important, especially when you have kids with ADHD. And yeah, so I would, if you're unsure, talk to a pharmacist, doctor, naturopath, but it is pretty safe to say that anybody can take magnesium. And if you've taken too much by your stools, if your stools get really soft, that means you've taken too much. Okay. Terry said, sometimes people are so stuck and not receptive. It is so sad for our kids. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you. How do we deal with a teenager who is already so stuck in their negativity that it's part of their identity? Ooh, that's hard, right? That's hard. So they're stuck in their negativity and it's part of their identity. I feel like I need more details on that one. What I would do is I would just try to help them find more positives. Our brains they're plastic. They're always able to change. We're always making new neural connections in our brain. So just because right now they have this sticky thinking and this negativity and they've brought it into a part of who they are, doesn't mean that that can't change. So finding, like, helping them find joy, helping them find things that they love, helping them notice little glimmers. And you can do a lot of that by role modeling. Oh my goodness, like, did you see that little bunny rabbit on the grass? Oh my goodness, that makes me so happy. And like just sharing that kind of excitement with them. Um, asking them, like, I'm going to ask you at the end of the day today to tell me about one glimmer. So you better be looking something that brought you a teeny tiny little smile on your face today. And we'll talk about it at dinner time. Or even like doing things with them, like silliness, like just like, even though they're teenagers, they still love like that attention, that ooey gooey silly attention. If you watch Jennifer Clary's talk this weekend, one of the strategies she talks about is baby talk. And even with your teenagers, like, oh my goodness, you're just so cute. I just love you so much. Like the way we talk to our kids when they're babies, just try it with your teenager and see what happens. Like they'll soften, they'll giggle. They might say, oh, go away, you're being ridiculous, but they actually like it. Or even like you pull out the baby book and you start looking at pictures of them from when they were little and you're like, oh my goodness, come and see this cute little thing you were doing. And just trying to find little moments of joy and positivity, or letting them know, like, I love driving you to school because I get to have time with you in the car. That's like the best 5 minutes of my morning, knowing that I get to be close to you. Even if you don't talk to me, I get to be with you. And that just brings me so much joy. Thank you. Thanks for sharing the space with me. Like any little ways that you can bring in some positivity and joy. Okay. Can I repeat that about the emotions in motion? So emotions are energy in motion. So emotions are vibrations in our body. And when we think about it that way, like, I'm having this feeling of anxiety, or I'm feeling irritated, or I'm feeling annoyed. Often when we have these uncomfortable feelings, we want to avoid them. We want to distract ourselves from them, suppress them, whatever. Like we don't want to feel them because they're uncomfortable. But if we remind ourselves, like, nothing's gone wrong, I'm still safe. These are just vibrations in my body and it's okay to feel them. And so when I'm noticing those kinds of feelings come up, I name it to tame it. I am feeling anxious, or I am feeling irritated. It's not I am anxious, I am irritated. It's separated. I am feeling. And then I notice what it feels like in my body. So name it to tame it, feel it to heal it. So I'm feeling my cheeks get red and hot and prickly. My head is like starting to get achy. My breathing is becoming more shallow. But now I'm feeling like tension in my neck. And like I just tune into those feelings. If you tune into your feelings for 90 seconds, that's the length of time it takes for an emotion to fully cycle in your system, is 90 seconds. So if you can stay with the feeling for 90 seconds without letting your mind spiral and without attaching more thoughts and feelings to it, you should feel a release in that feeling. So instead of spending all the time trying to avoid and distract and suppress and get away from the feeling, just say, okay, I'm feeling irritated. I'm going to set my timer on Siri for 90 seconds. Hey, Siri, like, set a timer for 90 seconds. I'm going to sit here and feel annoyed for 90 seconds and just allow yourself to have that. Okay. Amy, I'm a therapist, and EMDR especially is wonderful for helping to address core negative beliefs. I've worked with teens and adults with ADHD who have a lot of trauma related to it, and helping them process these difficult experiences that lead them to developing, oh, I've lost it. Those beliefs. I'm a failure. I'm different. I'm bad. And EMDR especially. What's EMDR? Emotional. Can you let us know what that means? EMDR? I don't know what that means. Yeah. And what I would say about if they're having those negative thoughts, like the example that was given, where did it go? Sorry, no. Oh, trauma therapy. Thank you. Um, I'm a failure, for example. If they have the thought, I'm a failure. Okay. I'm a failure. Write it down on a piece of paper. I'm a failure. And you can talk to them, like, what does that feel like when you have that thought? I'm a failure. Oh, it feels crummy. I feel bad about myself. Yeah. And is that helpful? Like, do you like having that feeling? No. And when you have that feeling, that like crummy feeling, when you have the thought, I'm a failure, like, how do you show up in the world? Well, I don't really try very hard at school. I want to hide in my room. Okay. So let's look at this. I'm a failure. Is it true? Like, what does that even mean, a failure? And like, in what areas are you a failure? And what areas are you not a failure? So basically, you want to prove that statement untrue. Well, are you a failure at eating your breakfast? Nope, nope, you can do that just fine. Are you a failure at getting dressed? Nope, you can do that just fine. Are you a failure at like writing your name? Are you a failure at using, these apps on your phone? No, look at all these things that you're not a failure at. So what does that mean to be a failure? Oh, you mean this and this is hard for you. Okay. Well, guess what? Like, everybody has things that are hard for them. So like really looking at those thoughts and kind of picking it apart and helping them like poke holes in that theory, I'm a failure. And then, is there another thought that you could have that might be more helpful? So maybe it's I struggle in math. Like maybe that's what's leading to this I'm a failure. Math is hard for me. Okay. Math is hard for me. And so, yeah. So if they're having these negative thoughts, start with helping them see how those thoughts make them feel. So this is basic, like your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions, and help them to see that, and then really question those thoughts and fight back against them and poke holes in those theories to prove that they're not true. And of course, in a loving way and in a way where they're willing to have this conversation with you. Okay. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing is EMDR. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up and learn more about that because that's very interesting. Okay, any comments on Facebook? No. Okay, so this kind of like ends this portion of our time together talking about back to school and putting supports in place. Can you let me know in the comments if you found this helpful? If there was something that I shared with you today, a strategy or a suggestion that you are going to try to help support your child and make things easier for you and your child for back to school. And especially if you're on Facebook and you're putting these comments in, even if you're watching on the replay, it's really helpful because I know as people scroll through the Facebook group, they might just be reading the comments before they watch the video, and they might be like, "Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea." So as you're sharing, yay, thank you for the love. As you're sharing, it helps to build our community. This is why I love, love, love having you share and ask each other questions and respond to each other's questions and celebrate each other's wins. And I wanted to mention that too. Please, in the Facebook group, if something went well at school, if you tried a strategy, your kid had a great day, put it in the Facebook group. Let us all celebrate with you. Little wins, like little tiny wins. Like, my kid only took 5 minutes to get out of the car to go to school today instead of 10. Yay, that's progress. And the more we see these glimmers and these moments of celebration, the more we celebrate, the more gratitude. It's so good for our brains. It gives our brains a dose of feel-good neurochemicals, and dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And our brains don't know the difference whether we're celebrating something little, like our kid only took 5 minutes to get out of the car, or something big like a birthday. It doesn't know the difference. And our brain also doesn't know the difference whether we're celebrating for ourselves or somebody else. So go ahead when people, share their celebrations in the group, like really pump them up and celebrate with them, because then you get the feel good neurochemicals too. So this is part of the ADHD village. Like find your people, love them hard. Like we are each other's people. Let's love and support each other as best as we can and lift each other up. So I'm just going to see if any comments came in on what you have learned. I see. Thank you. This was helpful. I always get at least a few takeaways from these meetings. Amazing. You're so welcome. Good. Yes. And I like how Amy's thanking everybody else because, right, like we're all contributing. How to combat negative talk is really helpful. Oh, I'll give you one more tip on that negative talk, Annie. I find this is super, super helpful. So the thought that was shared was, I'm a failure. I'm a failure. So you can ask them to say, I'm a failure with their hand right in front of their face. I'm a failure. Ooh, how does that feel? Like how do you feel when you've got your hand in front of your face? Or put on a piece of paper, I'm a failure, and hold that right in front of their face and ask them, like, how does that feel? Well, it feels like I can't see past my hand. I feel suffocated, whatever. Okay, now take that I'm a failure and pull it out to here. How does that feel? Well, now I have more space. I can see other things. I'm more open. It's further away from me. It's not, suffocating me as much. So the thought, I'm a failure, when you just have that thought, it can feel really heavy and consuming. But just adding the words, my brain had the thought, I'm a failure, that separates it. So it's not like them, it's, oh, my brain had the thought I'm a failure. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why my brain would have that thought. I wonder why your brain would have the thought you're a failure. And like, so just, it's your brain having this thought. It's not you having the thought. Like, it's not you that's the failure. It's your brain had the thought. So if they're saying something negative, like, oh, I really suck. Your brain just had the thought you really suck. I wonder why your brain would have that thought, like just play around with it. And they might be resistant and they might not like this at first, but, find a time when, maybe it's not in the moment when they're feeling that feeling that goes with that thought. Maybe later on you say, hey, remember last night when you said I'm a failure? I was just thinking, like, your brain had the thought you're a failure. I wonder why your brain would give you that thought. So they're seeing the language that you're using and separating them from the thought. Okay. Let me just see if there's any more comments coming in. I love that saying, totally trying it myself. Yeah, that helps me because we all have negative thoughts. 90% of our thoughts are automatic and negative. So it's interesting when they pop into your head, like, my brain just had this thought. I wonder why. Like, and you don't have to believe it. Just because your brain has a thought doesn't mean you have to believe the thought. Your thoughts are often not even true. We think they're true because they're in our head, but they're not. So yeah, that's something I love to play around with in my coaching. So this kind of ends this portion of our chat. If you'd like to stay on longer and learn a little bit about what's coming up, I'd love for you to stay on so I can share some of these things with you. I'm super excited about what's coming up. So first of all, the replay weekend begins on Saturday. So all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I have asked my team if they can release it a little bit early on Friday evening. So I don't know how early that will be, but I am hoping to give you extra time, not just the 48 hours. So all 33 sessions from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they will all be released this weekend for you to watch however you'd like. The live portion of the event, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and also the workshop from yesterday morning, that how not to lose your cool, especially when your kids do. Those are all in the Facebook group. They're all pinned to the top. So everything that I think is important is pinned to the top. So it's all pinned at the top. So if you go to the top section where everything is called featured and just scroll across at the top there, you should be able to find it. They're also all on my YouTube channel. So if it's easier for you to watch these things on YouTube than Facebook, you can just go to the ADHD Village on YouTube. If you do, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. I think I have 43 new subscribers since the summit started. So thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful. Yeah, so all of those things are available, and I'm not planning to take any of those things down. Often, people will offer these things for free and they'll have it free for a week and then they take it down. I'm not, it's there for you. So, whether you have a VIP pass or not, the live, it was almost like a mini summit inside of the summit. So each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I went live with 3 of the experts. So there's 9 interviews basically that's free for everybody. If you are wanting to get the VIP, I would say do it by Sunday night, because Monday morning, Eastern time, the price will be going up to the full price. So if you're wanting it, do it now. You can get a 30% off if that's what you desire. When you have a gold VIP pass, you will have those 33 videos. You'll also have the anchor in videos, anchor into calm. So myself and many of the experts from the summit just are doing these 1 to 3 minute little videos, 1 to 3 minute videos that are like giving you strategies that you can use to anchor into your calm. So, it might be something that you watch in a moment when you're feeling overwhelmed and you want a strategy, or something that you watch while you are calm to start practicing and incorporating strategies. You can use them for yourself or your kids. The gold VIP also comes with a really beautiful journal that's full of resources. So there's gifts from the VIP, from the speakers, plus VIP gifts from the speakers, plus their recommended resources, plus some quotes and a bunch of coaching questions to take your, what you learned from the sessions deeper, so you can make it more meaningful in yours. So it's one thing to kind of watch and think, well, that's a great idea, but when you make it your own and apply it to yourself, it takes the learning that much deeper. So that's inside the journal too. And the best thing is you get 1 month of support inside the Love You Parenting membership. So that's the gold pass. VIP, you'll also get the recordings from the 3 VIP Zoom sessions. I mean, platinum. Sorry. Yeah. Platinum. You get this. Just gold. I think gold might also have those. But the platinum, you also get the Heart Brain Boot Camp. So that is I think that's worth the full value, I feel, of the whole VIP pass. And then the platinum pass, you also get the 21-day emotional intelligence challenge, the Love You in Your Marriage masterclass, a $333 credit if you wish to have coaching with me, whether it's private coaching or if you'd like to become a warrior mama, which is my group coaching program that begins in the fall. All platinum VIPs have a $333 credit to apply toward that. So if you're looking for a way to invest in your family, these VIP packages are excellent resources and phenomenal for the value. I've been involved myself in a lot of summits over the summer. They're all amazing. They're all excellent in their own ways. But I think that especially in the platinum, I'm giving so many additional resources besides just the recordings, and the value, like my pricing compared to a lot is quite a bit lower because I want to make it as accessible as possible. So take a look at that, consider that. If you're not wanting a VIP package, but you really like the idea of having some support, the Love You Parenting membership is a fantastic place to start. It's $33 a month. VIPs get their first month for free. There's coaching from me. There's little live sessions from me. There's a library full of resources. There is my original Love You Parenting intensive course that I created with Sarah Nikoruk, who's a master neuro coach and educational leader. And so that course sells alone for $444. That's inside the membership. So even if you come into the membership for 1 month and take that course, that's huge value right there. And it basically explains the whole method of Love You Parenting and how you can use this method to bring a lot of harmony into your family and settle a lot of the struggles that we have with when we're raising kids with ADHD. So also in the membership, so this is what's coming in the fall. So starting next week, the back to school special will be starting. It's 3 modules, 2 modules at the beginning of the school year, and then 1 module 6 weeks in, so we can do a check-in. So we'll be, doing some of the things that we talked about today, taking that deeper. I'll be giving you templates that you can use to help your child with their self-advocacy at school. I'll be giving you templates for accommodations for IEPs. There will be templates for communication with teachers. So there's going to be a lot of executive function support, as well as some emotional support for you, because if your child's struggling at school, that probably means that you're feeling it too, because we feel it when our kids are hurting and struggling. So there's support for you as their caregiver. It's not just about getting them through the school and doing what needs to be done at school. It's how do you get support? How do you feel okay with all these things? And then I really like the idea of checking back in 6 weeks to see that now you've had a chance to put these things in place. How's it going? Where do you need support? So I'm really excited about that. It's my first time offering it. And as this introductory, as it's an introduction and it's during the summit that it's launching, it's $77. On Monday, it will go up to the full price of $111. And again, when you become a Love You parent in the membership, it's included for free. So there's tons of value in this membership. I can't speak highly enough about it. And again, I am in other memberships myself because I see the value in it, and I love always learning. I'm always learning, which means I always have more to give to you because I'm learning and evolving every day. I have more to pass on to you. But I think this is priced very reasonably compared to what else is out there, and considering what you get inside the membership. And also another course that's coming out in the end of September, early October, I'm not sure yet. It's called the Energetics of Motherhood. And if you were on the Platinum VIP call yesterday, the Heart Brain Boot Camp, or if you are planning to get Platinum and watch that Heart Brain Boot Camp later, we touched on two of the energy types, really. The goddess energy, which is like the heart and the feelings, and the captain energy, which is like the leader of your family. This is where you have the vision, where your family wants to go. And so in the boot camp, we talked about balancing those energy types, bringing them into alignment. So in the energetics of motherhood, we talk about the goddess energy, which is feminine energy. We talk about the captain energy, which is that leadership. We need to have the leadership and the vision of where we want our family to go. And then the third type is the mama bear. And this is like the masculine energy. This is the mothering energy. This is the energy of getting all the stuff done, like getting the appointments done and setting up communication with the teacher and being the executive function for the whole family. And so that's in the energetics of motherhood. Again, that's 3 modules coming out in the fall. If you decide to invest in that now, it's $77. After Monday, it will be $111, or join the membership for $33 a month, and you get that course as well. So I'm going to be dropping links for all of these things in the comments in the Facebook group. I'll send them. I think I'll send them out in an email too, because I know some of you are watching on Zoom. So I'll send that out in another email. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is if you're feeling that you resonate with what I'm saying and what I'm teaching, and you think we would be a good fit to work together, and you're looking for more support, you're looking for community, you're looking for that sisterhood feeling, you're looking for getting some coaching to help you through exactly what you are going through, some personal support, then I would consider the ADHD Warrior Mama program. This is my signature program. And if you're wanting to learn more about it, I'll drop again another link in so we can set up a call and talk. So if this is something, so this is a program, it's a 1-year program. And it is advertised on my Teachable site, but it's not something that I just say, oh, here's the link, come and join. Like, I always want to have a meeting with the person first, so we can both make sure that we're in alignment together, that we think we're a good energetic match for working together. And I build the group carefully to make sure that we're all like a good support for each other. This is a beautiful space to be in. And I keep it at 1 year because I want to be with you every step of the way through a whole year of all the things, all the school year things, all the holidays, all the different things. So 1 year of support. And this is the program that has everything in it. This is what I wish I had when I was struggling years ago. And it takes everything I've learned through all my coaching and all my training and education, and it's packaged up for you. So there's like a self-paced component where you can do some learning on your own, and we get together on Zoom and really support each other and actually rewire your brain, so that you can meet the goals that you want to have. And by doing this work in the Warrior Mama program, you will notice a significant change in your kids by you doing this work. So this isn't you taking your kid to therapy and there's a change. It's you do this work and their behavior changes. And that's the really magical thing. I had one mama recently said to me that her child said, I can tell that you're doing work because you're happier and there's less fighting in our house and you seem calmer. And these comments came from an 8-year-old. So that was really, really cool for me to hear. Like, the kids are picking up on this. So yeah, the work that we do on ourselves impacts our kids so much. And it comes to this whole idea of your worst parenting on your best day is better than your best parenting on your worst day. So the ADHD Warrior Mama will help you have so many more better days so that you can implement all these strategies, because you can have a toolbox full of strategies. This is where I was at as an elementary school teacher and a special education teacher. I had a toolbox full of strategies to help kids, but I wasn't able to help my own kids because I was so depleted. I wasn't able to access those tools. So that's what the ADHD Warrior Mamas really do, is it helps you to regulate your own nervous system, regulate your own emotions, dig through your own negative thoughts that are not helpful, and change your belief system so that you are feeling happier, more regulated, more calm, more harmony. And then it's so much easier to implement the strategies, and you feel like you're not spending so much of your energy avoiding uncomfortable feelings, which is exhausting. Anyway, if you're interested in the ADHD Warrior Mama, I'd love to connect with you and see if we're a good fit. I will share the link for that with all the other links that I'll be sharing. So I'll put it in the Facebook group and I'll send out an email. Let me know if you have any other questions before I say goodbye. I know that was a lot of information that I just gave out to you, so I will share it all in writing so you can see it. Any other questions? Does anybody have any questions about the different programs that are coming up or about the membership? Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm so grateful. And please, let's connect in the ADHD Village. It's a beautiful space to be in. And if you are reaching out to me, I think the easiest way is Facebook Messenger. Facebook Messenger, or send me an email, Coach Lara at theadhdvillage.com. If you don't hear from me right away, go ahead and send me another one. Some of my emails get buried. It's like there's a lot coming in right now. It's a busy time, but just reach out again and I will get back to you as soon as I can, or reach out to my team, hello at theadhdvillage.com. Okay, I hope that you found this helpful. Sending you all so much love. I'm so grateful that you are here with me and taking this time to help yourselves and help your family, and wishing everybody an incredible back to school. And if it's not an incredible back to school, I hope that it goes smoothly. I hope that you can find some glimmers of positivity in the back to school, and let's focus on those and get more and more of those positive moments. Reach out to me anytime. Love you. Bye.